Hey guys, Cam here from phonedog.com, and this is our review of the BlackBerry Classic. But just before we get into that, I wanted to point you in the direction of Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll has some of the best anime shows around, and it has the newest and most current episodes, straight from Japan and professionally subtitled. Shows like Naruto Shippuden, which has some incredible animation, not to mention some great action sequences and graphics. And if you want an even better experience, you can sign up to Crunchyroll Premium. And this allows you to watch Crunchyroll content on any of your devices in full HD and without ads. If you want to try Crunchyroll Premium free for 30 days, just click the link in the description box below. Now let's get on to this review. Just a couple of years back, it seemed that BlackBerry's days in the smartphone industry were over. They tried reshuffling the boardroom, but it wasn't until John Chen came aboard in 2013 that the company showed signs that it might still be alive, if only just a little bit. And it all sort of felt like it was leading up to one phone. And that phone is the BlackBerry Classic, and it's finally here. It's giving BlackBerry fans everything they need, in an up-to-date package that's relatively affordable. Design-wise, this is about as typical a BlackBerry you can get without relaunching the Bold. Its metal chassis and frame give it a feeling of sturdiness and class, although they do add some weight. At 6¼ ounces, it's heavier than a Galaxy Note 4. Even though it's much smaller. But despite its obvious heft, it's a very comfortable phone to hold. Its rear is curved from the edges and covered in a grippy textured plastic, making it one of the most ergonomic BlackBerries that's ever been released. On the front, the traditional physical QWERTY keyboard takes up 4 rows, each separated by a stylish and practical metal fret. It makes for an easy typing experience, especially given the fact that all the function and symbol keys are in the right places. For those who are virtually touch typing on old BlackBerries, this should be a piece of cake. It's the row above the keyboard that may confuse some legacy BlackBerry fans. With BlackBerry OS X working completely differently to the previous versions of software, some of the keys don't do what you think they will. And functions aren't consistent. The BlackBerry menu button opens up the settings drop-down menu from the home screen. Press it again and it selects whatever is highlighted and opens it. In the hub, it opens the side menu. The back button takes you back, but you can also use it to close running app windows on the home screen. And then there's the trackpad, which works well. For old schoolers who want to avoid touchscreen use, you can virtually do anything you need to do just by using the trackpad and the physical buttons. Call and end call buttons do exactly what you expect they will. In and of themselves, all the buttons work really well, but they do have a downside. They slightly intrude on the touch-sensitive area around the display. So gestures on BlackBerry X, where you would swipe up to reveal the multitasking window or unlock the phone, sometimes you might have to try a couple of times to get it to register. Overall, the hardware looks and feels high-end, which is surprising given how cheap it is compared to the Passport. While the flagship costs about $700 to buy outright, the Classic only costs $449. And moving up the device, we get to the display. Unlike the Passport, it's square. It's a 3.5-inch 720 by 720 resolution LCD panel with a pixel density of 294 pixels per inch. It's clear then that this is a mid-range device. Saying that, it's not a terrible display. It's bright and has great viewing angles. Whites don't tend to change that much when you're changing the angle that you're looking at the screen from. Colours are natural too. Text is fairly sharp, but if you look closely, curves on lettering and numbers aren't tremendously smooth. What's more, because the screen is square, what you can do with it is quite limited. If you're really into watching movies or gaming, then you should give the Classic a miss. Unless all you want to play is the new Brick Breaker game. The same goes for photographs. But for emails, messaging, web browsing and calendar management, it's fantastic. And because there's no keyboard taking up space on the screen, you can see much more of the text than most other smartphones would allow with virtual keyboards. For the most part, BlackBerry OS 10.3 looks well optimized for the square displays, but on the smaller screen of the Classic there are times when it doesn't look quite right. Like when the drop-down menu takes up almost the entire screen, or the notification icons and clock look huge on the lock screen. But these are unimportant issues. More noticeable problems arise when we look at performance. The first thing I noticed, having used a number of flagships for the past few months, is that there's a delay in touchscreen responsiveness. Gestures don't result in instant action. Granted, it's not a huge delay. In fact, it's a split second, but I noticed it nonetheless. For the most part, moving through the user interface is a pleasing experience, but open an app and the experience changes. Performance can be sluggish at times. That said, browser speed is generally quick, even if the touchscreen response time isn't quite up to scratch. And thanks to BlackBerry 10's intuitive gesture-based system, moving around the phone is as slick and easy as ever, even if it's not as instantaneously responsive as its bigger brother, the Passport. And battery life is decent too. The Classic easily got me through a full day on 100% charge, with some juice left over normally after light to moderate use. As with many individual features, the Classic isn't as impressive as the Passport, but it's still good overall, even if it's only 2,515 mAh. Speaking about cameras on a BlackBerry has always, historically, been a side issue. As long as it had one, and you could take the odd snap to upload to Facebook, the world is all rosy. Things have changed, but not as much as I would have liked. The 8 megapixel on the back of the Classic is capable of taking pretty good shots. Items in focus and in good light are sharp, and colours are pretty accurate too. Even depth of field is passable, but overall pictures can be fuzzy, and there's the odd occasion when colours are lifeless. If light is anything below brilliantly bright, the camera does struggle to create a good image. And that's without the issues that arise trying to take a photo on a square screen. It's pretty frustrating. Overall then, the BlackBerry Classic is everything that BlackBerry users need it to be. It's a current, up-to-date phone with great build quality and an almost perfect physical keyboard and control system. It's not the best performer in every category, but it's still a solid device, and I've thoroughly enjoyed the nostalgia trip that it's taken me on. I've been Cam. I'm at phonedog_Cam on Twitter. Ask me any questions in the comments or on Twitter, and I will get back to you whenever I can. Of course, if you like our videos, don't forget to subscribe, hit the thumbs up button. They really do help us out. I will see you again soon.